lunch.
Okay, now this discussion is going to be about the future of Blab, and will Blab one day be cool? The scenario that I have proposed is that one day hipsters in, say, Brooklyn will discover Blab, and that will change everything, and it'll blow up, and we'll all look back at this time as before the era of the hipster taking over Blab. That's my hypothesis, and so I open the floor. What do you think?
I think Blab at this point, even in the beta stages, does more than a lot of other platforms do. Meerkat, Periscope, nobody can do what Blab does because nobody else can operate a system like this on a desktop computer. Whereas with Blab, we could bring other people in, basically like what they established when they first started out. They wanted to build a product that could let a person do their own talk show. And this is exactly what's done. There's no other platform like this, where I could switch cameras and I could do a lot of things that I can't do with the Meerkat or with the Periscope or with the stream ups. I love Blab, even in beta stage. Even in the beta stage, I think Blab is fabulous. I think it will be cool. It is cool right now to me.
It's already cool.
When people want to establish their own talk show or they want to do their own show, I think you're right.
All right,
many of the independent artists in Brooklyn, and even with, I was showing it to a gentleman that was responsible for discovery and recording of Run DMC and a lot of the 80s hip hop artists the other day. He had never heard of this before. He had never heard of Meerkat before. He had never heard of Periscope before. So, it is a very new medium to a lot of people. A lot of people don't even know it exists. Once they find out it exists, it's going to explode, and it'll even get better. It'll either get worse because they're in beta stages and they won't be able to handle the influx, or it'll get better, because they'll finally get out of beta and be able to really work it.
Well, you can't be. How many Twitter users are there really right now? I mean, is it 10, 20 million? I don't know. But the integration of Blab with Twitter, you've got to know that 10 million people know about Blab. So as far as advertising goes, what else should they really? What else could they really ought to do? They're already in the face, in the front. Every time you tweet this out, right?
Right.
Potentially, every Twitter user could see it, right? And how many are those? 20 million? I don't know. I haven't looked up stats. Maybe electricity.
Right. So one thing I'd like to kind of mention is that there's two phases of Blab. One is the on record and one is the off record. And from what I've seen, being on record automatically, it just intuitively will change the nature of the conversations. It's kind of like quantum physics. You can't, the act of observing an object changes it fundamentally. So, that's something to take into consideration too. So there's the asynchronous and synchronous version where one is, you've got passive people who aren't engaged directly and they're just listening in on previous conversations. And then you've got the social element, which is really exciting, of just kind of meeting new people and having group chats with like-minded individuals. And I think that's the main appeal. I think that there's a large market for new coming people. But things is that the early adopters tend to be a little bit sophisticated in terms of understanding it and kind of having just an interest in technology in general. You've got other people who start to jump in, and as the phase gets later and later and later, eventually you just get people who may not be necessarily as engaged. And I think the level of engagement definitely increases the level of excitement and fun around a product. So the more engaged people are, the more fun it will be. So I think going back to what Shelton was saying, yeah, that's a total possibility where eventually, 5 years from now, we could get people who are just semi-engaged, really bad, really quickly, because the community is what makes Blab. Going to what JP Freeman was saying was, what are the stats? The stats right now, from what I see, they aren't actually actively pursuing marketing because there's no monetization angle at this point. It's just simply trying to get the level of engagement of Twitter followers to increase. When you go on Twitter, you want to search for people who you actually enjoy And one way to do that is to actually have a video conversation with them ahead of time. And that's kind of how they're trying to go parallel when they could also be thinking about this as a vertical structure. And I think it actually has more potential than Twitter in a lot of different ways, just because, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So what's 140 characters? And then you've got video, which is 30 pictures top of audio. So the ability to communicate an effective message is a lot stronger. And that's kind of what I think. I think it's capable of reaching high numbers, but even if you see, I see tweets on stuff all the time. I don't click the links. So seeing something is just more of a branding recognition. But when someone tries something, that's when the true conversion metrics start to kick in.
Yeah, what do you think, JP?
Well, very well put. The tweeting out with the captured GIFs speaks a little bit to what electricity is talking about. It's a picture's worth. A video would be worth. A picture's worth 1,000 words. A GIF is worth 5,000 words, and live video is worth 20,000 words. I don't know. Yeah.
So I guess like because I feel as though it's one of those things where, like what you mentioned about quantum physics, like I feel as though we're at the stage where it can go either way. Like it can either be that Blab will blow up and we'll all look back and like there will be real like their Vine stars, like their YouTube stars and whatnot, or Instagram stars. There might actually be organic Blab stars that blow up. And then on the other hand, it could fizzle out and it'd be something totally different, and just the community will drift to a different platform. Any idea which of the two scenarios will happen?
I think Blab really needs to look at considering semi-open source, where they are aware of the needs of I wouldn't call them consumers, the users, co-creators of the community. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, when you think about what the potential is for this, if you've got a small management firm taking control and kind of directing the ship, that's good in one area, but they need to also actively listen to the user base and see what the demand is, because I'm sure there's some things that could vastly improve it if we were part of the conversation, which is what we're attempting to do. So I see it kind of going a couple of different ways. If they try to close source it and stale it, and they just, they don't innovate and everything just stays identical to how it is, I see it lasting, but I see it eventually diminishing. But if they play an active role in engaging, maybe the podcasters, for example, they seem to be taking a foothold. If they can just come up with some sort of API for automatically pushing this out to all the different things and just making it easier for the podcasters, that'd be cool too. And the other thing that's interesting is that the podcasters are a large segment, but at the same time, they're still active, engaged in the conversation. So it seems like there's a cross barrier between like actual profitability, like people trying to build a name brand for themselves, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because then you get really high level specialists, which just makes amazing conversations. So yeah, they really just need to focus on catering to the end users, and then I think it'll just skyrocket.
So
I don't know.
Yeah. So what do you think, JP?
It's been a year in beta. You see, I would almost wonder if there's not going to be some fragmentation with the WebRTC being out there now. When you got Rabbit, RABB.IT, just came on board. You have Fire Talk. You see, there was Go Live With was also trying to enter into the space. So I don't know what would be the outcome of WebRTC being released. It's just a matter of getting a team of 15 people together with an investor to build a platform like this and bring it to market within 60 days. I mean, Blab was built in 2 weeks, and they started out at a bar drinking, So at the end of the day, at the end of 2 weeks, they had a product that was useful. So to me, it's a great example of how you can rush to market with a platform like this.
Right, that's why it's so important that they continue to innovate. They did this in 2 weeks. they could add another functionality to this that just increases, the user base by 15% in 2 weeks if they just kind of got a little creative, kind of joined the conversation and figured some things out. I think there's a lot of small things they could do too, like possibly having some sort of, we've got the props thing. They could maybe add some other little neat features, like you can unlock characters or something. Just small little gimmicks that at the end of the day, just a small tweak can change the user experience dramatically. So I think it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, yeah, you've got the competition, but if you've already got a strong user base and you continue to cater to them, the user base will continue to grow regardless of competition, just because they were here first and it's kind of sticky. You start developing, relationship patterns, and people start to enjoy it more. And people are accustomed to doing routines. I mean, it's kind of fortunate, kind of unfortunate, but once you start doing something, habits form really quickly. So.
Mm-hmm. And again, like, to me, the crux of the matter is, there's a strong community on Blab, really strong community, and that's what sets Blab apart from, say, Fire Talk right now. And I just wonder if the organic growth may eventually, someday, at some point in the near future, maybe 2016, we will reach a point where there will be a tipping point, and a lot of people, there'll be a sudden influx of people because of that community, and that will change everything. What do you think?
I mean, I could already imagine a scenario where 4chan raids this place, if we're talking about that type of interaction.
Yeah, that's what that would be kind of sucky.
Yeah, so I mean, there's potential for that sort of shenanigans to go on. That's where the vetting process comes in. That's why nobody uses chat roulette anymore, because the vetting process sucked. Having this passport through Twitter kind of forces people into a semi-private state, to where they're not totally anonymous, but at the same time, they do have the ability to hide behind a username. Because when you start dispersing the amount of impact that you have by banning someone, it starts to be less incentive. So if I get my Twitter account banned at the same time I get my Blab account banned, that's 2 bans as opposed to 1. That kind of sucks. So that kind of, but hackers can't really be stopped. So at the end of the day, though, I think people are actually more interested in having legitimate conversation than just trolling. So I think there's a strong possibility that Blab will continue to grow really well. But it just depends on the stagnating.
Okay, I would Steven or Seven or Jordy, all these people have strong opinions, or even Andrew have strong opinions about stuff like this. If you want to jump in and contribute to the conversation, please do. We're talking about the future of Blab in the sense of, will it one day become cool? Like, I'm old enough to remember Friendster. There was a moment when Friendster was really cool. Before MySpace, before Facebook, there was Friendster, and it was really cool. It was really small, really cool. People loved it, especially in the big cities, especially in New York City. And I just wonder if that scenario may happen here with Blab one day. That it will be like this little secret that only cool kids know about, and then the cool kids, the hipsters, if you will descend upon Blab and change everything. That's what we're talking about. That's what I'm interested in. And if you have an opinion about that, we got an open seat. Please jump in. Okay, great. All right, Seven, jump in. Seven, come on, Seven, jump in. I'd like to hear, because Seven is a well-known blabber here on Blab. You in the replay, you cannot see what she's written, but she said, "Oh, Will in China, Will in China is another blabber of note. He might have a strong opinion about this." So as I mentioned, for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about the scenario whereby Blab will. Oh, we lost somebody. The scenario whereby Blab.
I actually want to say that has already happened to Facebook. Facebook used to be cool, and then something happened where just so many people joined in that it's almost gotten to the point to where people use it, but they aren't happy when they're using Facebook anymore.
Yeah, that is another. A guy named Michael Birch owns Blab. The issue is, I guess what I'm saying is, will we? Okay, Matt. Yes, now he got ourselves a party. Matt is a entrepreneur, and he probably has a strong opinion about this.
Hey,
Matt is the most earnest man on Blab.
I don't know what that word means.
So he is Matt is an entrepreneur, and he. What do you think the future of Blab is? Do you think it will be cool one day, and like hipsters will descend upon Blab, and we'll be at CES, and we'll be saying, "Dude, everybody knows talk about Blab."
I think Blab is already cool. That's my opinion.
But there are so few people. There are so few people using it, though. That's the issue.
Yeah, well, that is your question. Is it cool or is it big? But those are two. I mean, like Blab is cool. Like, I mean, you're on all the time. I'm on all the time. Blab is cool. Like, the problem is, are enough people going to think it's cool to get on it and stay on it? So
yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is, will that coolness equate to organic growth, and then making the service more? That's the question.
No, the coolness, because it hasn't grown. Blab hasn't grown in daily users in the last like 3 months. So no, Sean's gonna have to think of something cool. I'm sorry, Sean's gonna have to think of something like an interesting way to market Blab, because right now it's failing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The thing is they're not only gonna have to figure out a way to market it, which I think is actually the easier thing. The thing they really have to do is they have to figure a way to monetize in a non-intrusive fashion. That way they've got the incentive to advertise. Because the conversion rate of I spend money to get more users so that way I purchase more hardware to get more users, that's profit margin. Like, you can't just, unless you're just doing this as a philanthropy, which would be kind of amazing.
Yeah. But what's like? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wish we could. It's the most. That's the point. Well, responding to Seven. Anyone who's on here for social doesn't share Blab. But if you're on here for business, you share the shit out of Blab. I don't know what. I think that business is less than social. I think there's more social people on here than business. So I guess the goal is to get the social. I mean, no one's gonna. That shouldn't be the goal, because no social. Like, I don't want my friends to know I'm on Blab. Like, unless it's a business show. That's the problem. Yeah, Seven's right. That's the problem.
Because you don't
and
like
why is that?
The idea of your friends being on Blab, and your friends aren't just they're not cool enough, and you're afraid of them diminishing the quality.
No, it's not it. It's the fact that, like, I'm trying to think how to phrase it. Oh, you have internet friends? You must be weird. Just like that sentence kind of encapsulates it.
I'm so tired.
You're so tired, but Seven always has insightful words of wisdom. So, Blab, Seven, do you think that Blab will blow up one day, and all the hipsters will descend upon us, and we'll all look back and go, "Oh man, I was using Blab back before the damn hipsters came."
I don't know. I'm continuing the conversation with Matt. It's like, well, no, because it's kind of the point. It's like it would get bigger socially, because that's kind of more of what it is, right? But it's like those of us who are on here socially, it's our escape from our regular life. So you don't really share it with the people you have regularly, because it's like it defeats the purpose. It's like,
right, yeah. The idea is to meet new and interesting people. So
exactly.
I want to talk with my friend on FaceTime, I could do that.
Exactly. So it's like, if I'm talking to you here, why don't I want to talk to you on Blab? And then, not that you don't share, because like I always tell people I don't know about Blab, which is weird that I even talk about that.
That's funny.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but then they don't get it, right? So like, how can you explain to someone you don't know about Blab, right? So like, that's kind of the catch-22.
Yeah.
Right, you just tell them that there's a whole bunch of cute girls that you can chat with online, and that'll get a lot of users.
But then that brings the wrong people, because we had
Yeah.
that come in. We've had that kind of influx of people coming in for the wrong reasons, and that like totally tears Blab up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think one thing that's going to be actually kind of a very interesting thing, if this does explode, I think it could actually get cooler, because there's the mini map, and all of a sudden you could be chatting with someone in the next town over. Now you're building interesting, meaningful connections.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but I think we do that already.
Most of the time, it's I'm going to fly over to you. Yeah, I'm going to buy a plane ticket.
Or drive.
Yeah, for 5 hours plus.
Well, I don't know. I'm in Texas. That's normal.
That's like an afternoon trip for a date.
Yeah, 4 hours is like.
Are you in Dallas area?
So. Yeah, see, there's a lot of us Texans here.
It's happening already. I'm also in the Dallas area.
Yeah, that is so weird. It's like, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah. But I guess that's kind of what's happening, right? You talk to someone and you're like, "Oh, where are you?" Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is I don't mean to interrupt, but briefly, there is a disproportionate number of Texans on this service. There is a disproportionate of in California, and a disproportionate number of ENFPs, whatever that means.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, what does that mean?
Emotional,
yeah.
Introvert, feeling.
Address.
Oh.
Responding to Ryan, it doesn't matter if you make a platform and you say, "I want it to be used for this." It doesn't matter what you want it to be used for, but
how the users use it.
Users are paying your salary. Like we're paying Blab salary right now, like by being on here. So all that matters is how the users use it, and if the users use it a certain way, that's how it's used. Like
and you raise an interesting issue. What about, because to be cool, by definition, you almost by definition have to be young. What if just hear me out?
Yeah, I don't know.
The Snapchatters came
that Bill
caused havoc. They caused havoc for a few days, like 48 hours. There was
and they weren't cool.
They weren't cool, but they were
young.
Like, to grow the service, you're going to need younger people. What do you think about that? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
For longevity, yes. For it to be cool, no.
Exactly, because they were young and they weren't
Call of Duty
cool.
is going to have to go offline for the young people to want to jump in. It's got to happen. If you want all the 12-year-olds, they're all on Call of Duty right now.
I'm not saying 12-year-olds. I'm more like 18 to 24-year-olds.
Okay.
Yeah, like Sherman.
No, I don't think that makes it cool. I think that improves the chance of its survival, but doesn't make it cool.
I agree.
And we'll elaborate. Well, why do you think that's the case?
I mean, I'm just gonna be super blunt because really, I don't want to beat around the bush. Like, chance of action. I don't know how to say it. We're in a nutshell, and this is a generalization. We are more tapped into tech than Generation X. So we will tell people, and we will get it's really just the real reason. To be honest, the real reason for longevity. We are probably going to be around longer than Generation X. Like, we'll be in the scene longer than Generation X because we're younger. That's what I guess I'm alluding to. Like,
in what scene? What'd you say?
We are I'm 22. I'm gonna be in this tech. I'm gonna be hopefully in the tech scene for the rest of my life. But I'll be in the freaking trenches longer than maybe Shelton. Because
I'm just gonna die. So
no, not based off death, based off of interest. Because you've seen a lot. I haven't seen a lot. I am fertile and I'm young and this is interesting to me and I will be in this. It's like anyone that's the age you're talking about, 18 to 24. They're just they're in the beginning of not life, but the beginning of independence and the beginning of I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Seven, you said you agreed 2 minutes ago. Do you know what I'm trying to say, or am I making zero?
No, I agree with you.
I know what you're trying to say, but I'm about to say, you're you're on the opposite scale of your action.
I don't know what you're trying to say. I mean,
I do, but I was going to say you're
blunt.
You're that oddity of your age group.
In what, like,
in the sense of everything you're saying, like where you're saying, you know, you're young, so you're like ready, more willing to learn. You're there to take it all in and to, you know, exercise new ideas, and right, that's like where you're going with it, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, the rest of your age group isn't. As the more tech that's out there, you're getting dumber.
Oh yeah, I agree. Oh,
To keep it blunt, you're getting dumber.
We're keeping it 100%. You're getting dumber.
Yeah, you're getting dumber. There's the group that you're like, when you take that 100%, you're actually over here. You're smart. You think more old school than you think you do. You know what I'm saying? That's what.
Like, well, thank you. It's hard. Like, I mean, it's interesting because you find, if you go on Blab, you'll find people my age or a little younger that they're just hanging out with on their phones, and the ones that are older, like having cool conversations and whatnot. And older meaning like even 28 or like 32 or like whatever it is. So I guess how each demographic uses the platform could depend on it. I know it's hard for me. I haven't really given it a lot of thought, like so much thought. It's just, I think the basic assumption that I guess was basing that off of is, the younger you are, the more likely you are to tell your friends. Because you're in the scene. Like you have, like, and you're more social. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking. But I don't have.
I do have to mention this. Facebook was built off of colleges and social spreading. If it wasn't for people in college sharing it with their friends, Facebook would be nothing.
Well, that's well. Okay, but remember, it was built for colleges. That's what Facebook was. It wasn't ever intended for what it became. You know what I mean? Like, the whole concept was nothing but college. Oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm breaking up.
No, I can hear it for this.
You hear me fine? Yeah, it was nothing but colleges.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, later, like you say, which I think was where the uncool part, where I was making the joke when you said earlier, yeah, people's grandparents came on it. Started posting weird things, but no. Yeah, I don't know.
Photos,
yeah.
Well, I guess the reason I thought about this is that I get this, like right now, I get the same vibe of early Facebook right now on Blab. No, we cannot see you.
I don't know. You, but it's like, one of the things I get about Blab, and I kind of get it from you too with the question, is if people keep asking about Blab, where's it gonna go? Because like all you do is constantly ask, where's Blab going? And no one's trying to do anything about Blab. But it's like they sit on Blab and talk about Blab.
Oh,
that makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But guys, it doesn't make any sense.
Earlier, a little gem, I was like, well, they could start doing something where they integrate instantaneous streaming to the podcast, or, you know, having some sort of automation to drop in the podcasts, or change up the UI a little bit, you know, like add some extra feature on top of props, just small things, you know.
Well, but, also there's all the small things, but like we're not like this conversation. Like I mean, Seven's right. Like this conversation isn't helping. Like, and also there's nothing wrong with this conversation, but it's just an example. But also my opinion is like 90% of people on Blab, I think, are like little idiots, and that also doesn't help Blab.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
You don't see it, or you didn't say? Wait, say it again.
No, I was just saying I didn't say that.
Oh no, I know you didn't say that. Yeah,
I know. I was just making sure that on record I didn't.
There's the certain, like, that's just my perspective, and it's not the right perspective. It's just my perspective. I go on Blabs, and like so many Blabs are just like, this is a good Blab because they're actually having a conversation. Like so many Blabs are just sitting there texting or talking about I explore. I don't have any of my tabs set. I just go into all of them because I'm always curious, and it's just I really think, especially like a lot of the marketers, a lot of the kids my age, a lot of kids younger than like it's just I really think a lot of people on here are idiots, and that's not good for first timers that come on here and they see like people on a Blab that are just texting, oh, what's up? Or, hey, let me tell you about my digital funnel. Like, I don't give a shit about that shit. This conversation is interesting, though. Like, this is the 10%. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why I started this
funnel
conversation
a
was
little bit.
yeah, reason why I started this conversation because I was bored to death as to what was going on elsewhere. I was like, I want to talk about this, so here we go.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's an idea. Okay, because I've said this in a couple other blabs to blab about blab. Sorry, just my opinion.
That's okay.
How about making a blab on what would be a good idea to come up with to do something on Blab?
Okay, we can do that.
To make
and on that
Blab
note,
exciting instead
on
of
that note,
like.
I
know
take
exactly
it
what
off.
you could do to do that. You could have a dare challenge where it's a blab on your phone. People, say do this, and then you dare to do it, and then you do it. You can get a lot of views that way.
That's already happened at least once.
But still, you like say that's a show in itself. But see, thank you. But that's my point. Those kind of blabs, or even talking about doing it or making arrangements to do. But to me, that's what I think. Even the people in charge of Blab, that's kind of what they're looking for. People are going to use Blab and make it something. It's up to the people who decide to come on Blab to do. Like that's what I give Sam and Ricky and Selassie. Like that's where I'm getting Angel. That's why I'm giving them their dues, their credit. Where they're saying, okay, yeah, I'm gonna use Blab. I'm gonna make it a show. I'm gonna do. I think I see someone else here who's saying they're gonna start doing interviews. Yeah, that's the point. The point is to use Blab to the best of your ability and make something out of it. Like that is the point. The more people do that, the bigger and better Blab itself becomes. You know what I mean? And it makes these kind of conversations void. Like that's
what's
the
a
point.
little. Go ahead, Sheldon.
No, I was just gonna say on that note, I will give for the recorded list aspect of this Blab, I will give 7 the last word, and we can continue this off the record.